What?
Where do I look?
Where's my pink glasses?
Where's everybody?
Where's my pink glasses?
What? You're missing your pink glasses,
We're looking for
Ed?
pink glasses. Who wear pink glasses?
Who wears pink glasses?
Pink glasses.
Sounds like a, bit of a...
Okay, slow down.
Pink glasses. How come you got 2 pairs of pink glasses? One for me?
$1.25. Yeah, you can buy 3 pair. Not even, you give the guy 5 and say, keep a quarter.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the week. Happy October. It is now the month of the turkey and the pumpkin.
Sober October.
Speak for yourself, Ed. Anyways, we have a great show today for you. We're going to have Colin Fisher here from StableView Asset Management. Colin is a very voluble and erudite.
Right, that's the word I was looking for. Erudite. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding,
you
ding,
win.
ding, ding.
You win some chicken. You get a chicken in every pot.
He's going to tell us about the technology
And
sector
pot.
in Canada today and how to invest in it and why you should go to his conference this Thursday if you're in Toronto. We'll tell you how to do that. We're going to have Justin B. Marshall here, our West Coast correspondent with the most, with another fantastic interview.
Another show.
And then, other than that, Ed and I are going to conduct in-depth technical analysis on some of your favorite cannabis issues.
And we're going to take a good look at
Tilray,
G-Tech,
Royal Nickel,
Don't I have an original thought?
Royal Nickel, Golden,
High Hampton,
Chiron. We're going to talk about Chiron. We're going to talk about organogram.
This Tilray is some two important points we want to make about the chart today. We'll get to it later.
Okay. Okay. We'll be back right after this.
Getting very comfortable with that
Look
co-host.
at that. He just stole the lead and handed it back. I like that. Very professional, Edward. It's like, what did you do? Media training or something today?
I did some media training.
Or you just switched up your alcoholism for cocaine consumption?
Training day.
Anyways, let us do our audience a big favor, and we're going to take an immediate and in-depth look at what is happening in our
Space.
The final frontier. Oops, you know what? I've got to turn on my NDI. Do you think I remember that? Here we go. Survey says. Okay, so interestingly enough, early this morning, we had all green. Now, late in the day, in the upper part of the market, in the upper spectrum, it's red.
Yeah.
The large caps are now down by 1.17%. Small caps down by 0.17. We'll call that sideways drifting. Venture cap index up a 0.06%, very much, and 0.54% up in the CSE. Apart from the somewhat significant sell-off of 1.17% in the large cap index, I would say that the majority of the cannabis index in Canada is irresolute. Is that a word?
I know resolute is.
Resolute. Well, if resolute is, then irresolute must be.
No, because they say, for instance, regardless is a word, but is irregardless a word? Because regardless, you know what I'm saying? Like it depends on.
Yes, I know. Precedent.
Solute, resolute, irresolute.
No. You're confusing things.
I'm confused.
Okay, let's look at the big cap stocks here and see if we can figure out what's dragging stuff lower. Don't be surprised if we can. Oh, wants to install updates. How about F off? Apple.
How about F off?
Are you sick to death of Apple trying to update everything all the time, every day, every week, multiple times a day? And there's no option to say, hey, please fuck off and quit bothering me altogether. It's like the latest you can go is tomorrow. Or just turn on automatic updates. Anyways, so look at weed started the day off strong. And now it's down 0.22%.
Right. No, they're, as we head into October 17th, I hate to say it, and Tilray did something today, and I should have wrote it down and before it did it.
Oh.
But I wanted to say that if the real hard part for Tilray going forward will be to get through about 165. 165 and above is very, very rarefied air for Tilray. It did it before, and it shot up to 300, and then came all the way back. And so that peak, that big tail, stands up there like the Mount Everest of technical analysis.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
I don't either.
Look at that, $160, $16.30. At one point, it was up $25 today.
Listen.
You know what I did this weekend?
What did you do today?
I
This week?
read all of Tilray's filing statements on sec.gov.
Did it make you want to go have a number?
Well, you know what it did? It made me realize just how thoroughly the volatility and extreme price appreciation in the small timeline in Tilray is really a function
Of
its capital structure. Yeah, so they've got like total of 10.2 million shares out of the entire float of like 99 million shares. But here's the thing that I really clued into, and this was where I went, wait a second.
Don't tell me all those shares are in a vault somewhere.
You know how we've been complaining about how companies have developed this new tendency to deny their shareholders a vote through a class of super voting shares that is controlled by the insiders? Guess who has just such a structure in place? Tilray!
I thought we knew that, though.
Well, I didn't. I had never picked up on that.
Because it's difficult. James, listen, I don't expect you to be a genius here, but to remember
But I want to be a genius.
I know. No, but listen. You know so many things. I sit here and I'm in awe half the time because what you know.
No, I don't know it.
I don't want to know. No, but to remember what the structures are of all these companies is like.
Oh, well, I only know today because I read it yesterday. I will forget by tomorrow, guaranteed.
Look at this. Tilray got to 173, so it got up to up 30. And in a normal environment, you'd say up 30. That's pretty good. But
yeah.
Now it's like, who cares? 30. It's hardly a move. No, it's still a move.
Well, good point.
It's up 11%. No, but can you put the chart back up while we're here? It is
of Tilray. Here it is.
Here.
Here it is. Want the full screen version?
Yeah, put the full screen.
There you go.
Okay, so a couple things here. We had this crazy action last week and a half ago. Yes, and then we had another day, but then we had a gap down. See that gap?
Yeah.
That gap got filled today. That gap.
Yeah.
And then now you want to know what a true doji looks like? Right there.
Doji.
Doji.
The doji?
Yeah. See, long tail, long wick.
Looks more like a sword.
And I know it could be a sword from the King Arthur days.
Yeah. So
indecision, and I'm going to suggest that this area up above here is going to be difficult to penetrate. And it could happen, but I just think that right now, and look,
here's what I want to do.
$97 to 170.
I know.
That's a monster move.
I know. But you know what I want to do is I want to pull up the technical look on, let's look at the time and sales of Tilray, because remember when it bolted to 300, the trades were characterized by 55, 6, 8 shares. So that was very much a lot of algorithmically driven high frequency trading going on in there, if you ask me. Look at this. We're back to another version of high frequency trading. Everything's 100, 200, 300. Here's perhaps a real investor buying 1,700 shares. But I mean, when you look at these things, the rate at which they're trading, it's clearly not really that involved with what humanity's up to today.
Well, it's still traded 12 million shares.
Well, so that's my point. Because of the capital structure of this thing, the volatility and price appreciation potential in a certain given timeline is at a way higher level of probability than would be any other company that has significantly all of its float in the market. So this has resulted in, it attracts the algorithmic high frequency trading machine, platform, scalpers, whatever you want to call them. And so I really question how much of this is actually legitimate speculation, and to what extent is it really just algorithmically driven high frequency trading designed to catch a half penny there and a half penny here. What do you say to that, Ed? Am I barking up the right tree?
No, I think, look, I'm going to sit here and throw up my hands and say, I don't know. All I know is this thing went from, we were trying to find the top. I was trying to find a top at 120 to 150, and it doubled from 150. But you didn't have a big window, let's face it. If you blinked in that last hour, that day, from 2:30 to 3:30, it was back, it went from basically 200 to 160, a round turn, in an hour and a half, I'm guessing. But look, I'm telling you now that it tried to get into the 170 level today. I
It
just think
makes me
it's.
sneeze.
I think it's going to be difficult for this thing to.
But look at the trades. Look at the size of the actual trades.
Yeah.
Like 4 shares. Like somebody's selling 4 shares, 1 share.
Where?
Is that so? I guess the white is an off-board lot, right?
I don't know.
Or just a flat price trade. Yeah, but look at that. 50 shares, 10 shares, 6 shares, 7 shares. Like, look at this thing. It's now, look at it go. 12 million shares traded. So it trades every day. It trades its float and then some, if not a multiple thereof. Like, I don't understand how any human being could rationally say, you know what? It's gone from 135 this morning to 160, back to 150. I think I can lay down a bet safely and count on it going to 180. Like, how would you ever possibly?
Well, you know, look, but you can buy. You could have bought the thing at $100 again when it went to 100.
Well, yes, but how did you know it wasn't going to go back to 17?
$17?
Yeah. I mean, it's been 4 weeks now. This is the 4th week of trading? 5th week, maybe?
Maybe 6 or 7.
6 or 7? Whatever.
Maybe 10.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe a year. Maybe it's trading for a year.
It sounds like we now need to pull up a chart just
to see how long it's
just
been
to
trading.
say what the hell we're thinking of. Okay, so first trading day was Thursday, July 19th, 2018.
So July,
Opened
August,
at 23.
September. 3 months.
Touched a high of 24, closed at 22.39.
Yeah.
So it never was actually at 13, 14, 17.
No. The issue price was 17. Started trading in the low 20s.
Yeah.
And it gave you an opportunity to, to load the truck and then.
So there's basically 9 million shares that people bought, 1.3 million shares that was the over allotment option for the banker. That's the float. That's it. And it was prospectus, so there's no hold period. And it's just fascinating to me. So nobody can sell this stock for at least 180 days, or is it 90 days after it's been a public company.
Right.
So in November, there's going to be a block of stock become free trading. Now, if you had a block of stock, you've been tied up for a year, 2 years, 3 years, unless you're senior management, I think you're going to be eyeballing those bids and going, whoo, I'll be first to go. But do you think that the market's going to look forward to that and bid it or sort of sell it down?
I tell you, I suspect, and again, just based on everything we're looking at here, and I'm not trying to look at each tree in the forest and decide whether the forest looks reasonably good, but I got to tell you, I think there's been some damage done, and I think it's going to get a little more difficult making money. Like we saw Alifia shoot up to 470, and it's been in a relatively narrow range here. All of a sudden, Alefia's trading at $3.
Yeah. Let's not talk about Alifia.
Okay. All right.
You want to know why? Don't own it, don't care.
Okay.
Let's just make clear, let's just run through our disclosures here, which we have to do every show. We are essentially market participants, and we basically are not to be trusted because we might be in the stock, we might be out of it.
Right.
We'll disclose it when we're owning it. We'll disclose it when we're going to sell it, but not till after we sold it.
Just kidding. I'll tell you what I bought today. I bought a stock today.
Did you? What'd you buy?
I bought some High Hampton.
Oh, well, we're going to go there after GTEC. So here's the GTEC chart.
GTEC. Oh yeah, look
Now,
at this.
so GTEC put out some pretty good news.
Yeah.
And here's the result. Like, this looks like it's about to go into lunar orbit, potentially.
Look
I
at
don't
this
own
thing.
it. I don't own it, so I can be trusted just for this.
Look at this thing. Came out and immediately shit the bed. Shit the bed, seriously. And it did so along with the Jason.
JWC.
What's the symbol? What's the name of that? Johnson?
John E. Wagner Cultivation Corporation.
They came out about the same time.
James E. Wagner. I keep getting James Wagner and John Wayne.
Does anybody, we know any Jameses around?
There's a few. I'm not one of them.
They both came out, did both the same round trip, and now they're both doing much better.
Yeah.
Look at this. I like the GTEC management. I think these guys know what they're doing.
Yeah. No, I'd say you're right. Let's see. GTEC's press release today. I just want to pull that up to give it a quick look.
Yeah, what does that mean?
What does what mean?
How many do they have? 1 license or 6 licenses?
There wasn't a press release today. That's okay. We're going to go and find their CEDAR, GTEC. This is taking me too long. GTEC Holdings. Come on. Go. Boy, oh boy, technology, there it is. There's the press. It wasn't today, it was, what? This is not correct. August 31st. Okay, maybe I'm confusing things here.
No, they came out with something today.
Yeah, I thought I saw a press release.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to Google it because what the hell. But G-Tech, I keep looking at it and going, I don't understand how this thing's going to go. And people say to me, you know what? You need to look more closely at that company because the people behind it are a lot more effective than you might think at first glance.
Listen, these guys, you know, and I don't know Norton as well as I know Blady, but Norton's got his name all over this.
Yeah.
Norton, I think, is extremely capable. He's a character, and you know what? I think these guys are going to build themselves a hell of a business, and someone's going to want to buy that business at the right time. Whether that's now, you know, and there's probably a handful of these companies out there in that what? Speak up. Hey, just because I'm talking doesn't mean you can't.
Well, sorry. I'm
Help
trying
me
to
out
find
here.
the damn press release
Help me
I
out
thought
here.
I saw, which apparently I
Look
did
at
not.
this, August 24th.
Anyways, there's
Do you want me to read you the press release?
There's the coast of Amalfi, in case anybody wants to go for a vacation.
Is that where they are?
There's this. See this pin here? This is a place that's a Michelin-rated restaurant, Ristorante Don Alfonso.
Yeah.
So the other, so he's got two restaurants that are Michelin-rated. One is in close to Amalfi Coast in Italy. The other one's in Hong Kong. But guess who just opened one in Toronto in the old Rosewater? Don Alfonso.
Really?
So now, yeah, he doesn't have a Michelin star here yet, but if you want to go to a restaurant that is a prime candidate for a Michelin star in Toronto and try some molecular Italian cooking and cocktail creation, the reason I'm saying this is because I discovered this place recently, and let me tell you, the place is a class act.
So if you're saying you want to go eat some molecules, go over there?
Yeah, no. Anyways, let's moving right along. If you want to ask us any questions, you can tweet us. You can enter your question into the chat column at the YouTube channel, on the website at midasletter.com, or on Facebook. You'll get your best response on YouTube. That's because Facebook's now everybody's bitch, in case you haven't noticed. 50 million accounts stolen, and everybody's just waiting to find out, well, what are they going to do with my information? Like, what are you going to do with my party pictures and date rate things? Like,
Jesus.
I know, it's like, whoa, I hope they're not going to circulate those and try to blackmail me. I've been getting these interesting emails from, I don't know, spam, but it's like clearly some Slavic person saying, we have violated your camera and we have seen what you're doing with yourself. You're having a good time with yourself. Well, we're going to show everybody what you've been doing to yourself if you don't send us so many euros, rubles, whatever.
Yeah.
And it just makes me laugh like hell because I always make sure the camera's off when I'm doing anything to myself using the computer. Do you? Don't play dumb with me.
My computer has hands.
Oh, I see. Well, that's helpful. So let's go say hello to our YouTube audience today and see if they have anything that they would like us to talk about today. And we will try to. Whoa, there's me talking to me. Let's see. Here we are. Cody Mason. Juju is down 0.5 cents, half a cent. Dave, what's up, James? Hey, Dave. How you doing? What's our opinion on Aurelius Minerals?
Aurelius?
Aurelius. Aurelius Minerals.
Oh, yeah.
Question from Manny P. Manny, we haven't looked at Aurelius lately. If there is some reason for us to do so, put it in the thing and we'll take a look. Glen Treat, buy, stops, and catch it on the way up.
Royal looks like.
This is what happens. I'm always reading from the bottom up. Pretty tame audience today.
Tame.
Royal
Nickel just went by at 92. Do we care?
Garrett Turner says, you guys are all went by 92? Yeah, I care. I bought 100,000 shares at, I don't know, something in the market. What did I buy that? 77 cents. So that's good. I'm up, what, almost 30%. Emily D says she would like us to talk a bit about Kronos. Okay, so Emily, we will be happy to oblige you there.
T-God's taking it here a bit on the...
T-God announced a bought deal financing for $75 million at $6.03. So that's where it's going probably before it bounces, and then it'll close, and then they'll jam it, take it higher. So let's talk about Chronos Ed. What do we know? Let's pull up the chart first, and we'll be able to formulate a better discourse. Okay, so it's still trading sideways. 1424, that's not so bad. It's at the lower end of this range. I mean, look at this range. If you were a day trader, well, this would make you a week trader, but you could easily buy this thing at the end of the week and sell it.
You got some big support there. You got big support here, and now you're starting to get. I would not want to see that line reached, which I think.
What, to the downside? You mean?
Maybe like if this thing rolls, it's like a bounce, another bounce, and then. No, so far it looks good.
So what are the chances that it could go back to these levels here?
Well,
like we're talking,
you know what? Right now I'd say it looks pretty. But we're starting to see. Remember we talk about expansion?
Yeah.
Now we're narrowing here.
So we're seeing narrowing. So
yeah,
that means
and a narrowing, and then the next move. That's the move I want to be on, but we don't know what the next move is yet.
We don't know whether it's up or down.
We don't, and that's why if you're a trader, a speculator.
I'm not a trader. I'm very loyal.
You have to wait. You know what they say? You pay for direction.
That's for direction.
Bit of a term you might want to use.
That sounds like one of those
simplistic. You can pretend you're a big kind of trader.
Sounds like one of those simplistic platitudes that means absolutely nothing, yet is designed to stop you from asking any more questions.
Look, it looked like this thing was going to rock and roll this morning, and then it sold off. So
Petered out. Petered out.
Peter out.
Petered out. I don't like it when you get that look on your face, Ed.
Peter out. Petered out.
Yeah. So anyways, the whole sector is short $3.5 billion as of today, about double where it was a month ago.
You mean the marijuana sector is short?
3.5 billion USD across all markets.
And you're saying that's double where it was?
Double where it was a month ago.
So can I just tell you what my take is here?
Yeah.
So you know what? Short people usually, the guys that
short people.
Napoleon. Geez, you got a complex, buddy? So look,
you're all short.
They generally do a lot more homework than the longs. Guys that short stock, they really have to have an understanding of what they're doing. Like, they understand the whole mechanism of borrowing.
Well, because you're paying major vig on your borrow generally.
Not if it's really liquid, no.
So
but if everybody's short,
Tilray 2 weeks ago was 600% borrow.
3% a day or something stupid.
Exactly.
2% a day, yeah.
Now it's down to 30%. But still, if you're paying 20% borrow per day, that means you have to recover a multiple of that.
Yeah, but that's 10% divided by, let's say your borrow rate's 30%.
Yeah.
That's spread out over the year. You're paying 30% per year. So you only trade it for 1 day, you're paying 30 divided by 365.
Well, see, this is why I don't short stocks, because I don't really even understand how the market works.
Because they say, hey, the borrow is 20%, and what do you want to do?
Well, so the borrow rate is quoted on an annual basis. Really? Yeah. So 600% per year.
So
if I want to buy 100 shares
and flip it
beginning of the year, I have to give them 600 at the end of the year.
But you have to tell them you want to give back your stock. If you don't tell them that, they're going to assume you're holding on to it to reshort it. So you have to tell them that your short is you want to unwind. You don't want to borrow anymore. And once you say you don't borrow, you stop paying interest on the borrow.
Okay. But if you have the stock.
Yeah, but let's say you buy it. Let's say you short it and you buy it back and you made a profit.
What happens if you go short and it goes up higher?
You still got to pay the borrow.
Exactly. But at what point, like when do they say, you know what, we don't think you have the money to cover this? Is it dependent on what's in your margin account?
Look, like if you short a stock and you can let it go continue against you, you're going to find out what real
ass fucking's all about.
You're going to wish you never heard of shorting, because there's nothing worse than being short a stock that looks like it's going to go.
Okay.
Because when they were going up, you think, oh my God, they're just never going to stop.
I barely understand the difference between buy low and sell higher, so I'm going to stay away from the shorts. I'm going to leave that.
Okay, so but you remember when you're shorting, you're selling before you buy. You're always selling first.
Shelling.
Shelling.
Shelling, like shelling out.
Like,
Trick or treat.
Maximilian Schell.
like Shell game.
Like the Shell game. Shelling.
Shell Company. Shell Oil.
Yeah.
Hey, Shell Oil is announcing apparently a $75 billion investment in the new LNG plant off the coast of BC.
Wow.
Thanks to the resolution of the free trade thing with NAFTA.
Donald Trump.
Well, thanks to Donald Trump. I'm going to have a hard time wrapping my head around
He
that.
apparently fell in love with Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un?
Yeah.
Well, probably because he likes young'uns.
He's like young'uns.
Anyways, so we won't even go to Donald Trump because that would take a whole other channel and other, whatever. He's got his own problems.
I got my own problems.
And so Trudeau apparently bent over and opened his cheeks and took a few concessions just to stop a trade war with the United States.
Probably smart move.
Well, Stephen Meisner, who's going to be here with you this week, would say so, and we'll let him make that case when he's here.
And taking you out and bringing in Steve is like sort of like putting in 3 Trumps at the table. And out goes
5 liberals.
5 liberals, and in comes in one mean mother effing
Well, that's true.
Republican.
One mean mother. Well,
and you know what? If you ever notice with me that I'm sort of like I agree with everybody. So if you're here, I agree with you.
are you a sophist?
Sophist, as in
Sophist who can
Sophocles.
argue with conviction both sides of
Yeah.
any argument.
more. You know what? Try to see the other person's point of view. If you do that, people like you.
Oh, look at you, Ed. You're all nice
Yeah.
and friendly
Yeah.
towards others today. Anyway, so Justin B. Marshall is here, and he's again produced another great interview. Here's what Justin had to say to us today.
Hello, James, Ed, and all our Midas Letter friends around the world. Today we have the opportunity and the pleasure of spending time with Jenny and Christina from Bayflower. Jenny, Christina, thanks for coming on our show today.
Hey, Justin. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, Justin.
Hey, Midas.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about Bayflower? You have a beautiful business plan, and it seems to be going very well for you.
Thanks. Bayflower is a brand of cannabis products, a branded cannabis lifestyle, if you will, founded on the values of family, friendship, and freedom. We're a consumer-focused brand, but our model is designed to help promote and grow small, independent, artisanal cannabis farmers and producers, manufacturers.
A lot of smart people in the industry are saying that's going to be the future, where you will have large mass-scale produced cannabis grown in huge facilities, but you'll also have like the boutique cannabis grown similar to fine wines. And so if you're sourcing organic cannabis that way and selling it at a wholesale level, as well as oils, and soon to be edibles and other items?
Yeah, hopefully. We're expanding our product line every day. We're expanding our network. A lot of opportunities for growth, a lot of really talented people out there to work with, and we are just taking it one product, one step at a time. Our focus has been primarily on flowers and extracts up till now, but as the line grows, people have shown some interest in edibles, topicals, tinctures, a variety of products.
There sure are. And I'm sure you're keeping a lot of data, and that's very valuable too in helping you grow your business.
Data is everything. Data is how to know what to do.
That's right.
We thrive on data. We look for it. We eat it up.
So you're a private company right now showing great profitability and potentially going to be going public in the future, but right now you're building your company solid. Is that correct?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
And you have been approached by other companies as far as maybe being acquired, but you're not interested at this time.
At this time, we're open to everything, but I think at this time we're really just focused on building a solid foundation for our brand before we, get too crazy with all the options. We love options. We love having opportunities and opportunities presented to us. So I don't want to say we wouldn't do anything. I just think that right now we're so focused on our brand and growing it that it's kind of like a laser focus right now for us.
So you started as a delivery service originally and then moved into the Bay Flower brand.
We did.
So you must have learned a lot as you were out there supplying the consumers, the patients, with the medicine they need, finding out what the true needs are.
Yeah, we did. We listened to them. Our consumers, our patients were everything to us. At the drop of a hat, we pretty much would do anything for them. A lot of them were patients. They needed it medically. For pain relief and for diseases and things that they use it for, and so we took that very seriously. It's actually kind of interesting that sometimes they would call us like we were their doctors, which was kind of uncomfortable. But also it made us realize the importance of what the questions they were asking and how important it was, and our responsibility it was to be able to answer those questions accurately, as accurate as possible. And so I think we took that very seriously, and I feel like from then on we really listened to what their needs were, and we made sure to speak to our farmers about it, speak to other peers in our business about how they're treating their patients, what they're hearing about things, and and stuff like that. That became very important to us. So with that, we've been able to take that knowledge and that expertise and move that into Bayflower and really build a brand that focuses mainly on our patients, on customers, on people that are interested in cannabis, and really listen to what they need.
I see. So you're sourcing your cannabis from primarily organic farms in the Humboldt and Mendocino area at this time?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. We move. We're an Appalachian-focused brand.
Right.
So, we've started our focus in the beautiful Emerald Triangle of Northern California, where we are working with artisanal small patch cannabis farmers in Mendocino and Humboldt counties, and we are currently already discussing expanding into new appellations.
Great. Well, we would love to have our Big Sur product on your site. So
Love to
We
work
would love
with Big
that.
Sur.
thanks. Well, what do you see happening in the future of cannabis? I mean, it's so hard to say because things are changing so much each day here, and it feels like a pressure cooker here where there's a lot of things happening. What do you see happening in the next short while? I mean, the evaluations of some of these companies like Tilray, and then you got companies moving out here like Ianthus, and a lot of the bigger U.S. companies. What are you seeing in the local San Francisco area and then here in California?
From a boots on the ground perspective, we're looking towards stabilization. It's been a very tumultuous year, not just for small brands, but for all companies alike. We've all been adjusting in California to new regulations, new taxes, new rules. People have come, people have gone, and we've all had to be very nimble to survive this. So I think that what we are looking for in the immediate future and in the years to come is stability, a little bit more predictability, and the ability to forecast what we need. And frankly, the past 8 months or so, we've really just been focused on staying alive for that day and finding, making sure that we can actually reach consumers with compliant product that meets all of the regulatory standards and keep prices somewhat stable given the increases in costs due to taxation and additional
as far as what you were
needs.
asking about, what do you see? I honestly see a lot of big companies coming in here and either putting small companies out of business, buying up small companies and doing what they want. So I think we've just really been focused on trying to, like she said, survive all of this and to maintain stability or some level of stability so we can get through this process and then, continue to work with our small cannabis farmers and be a voice with them.
Absolutely.
Build a very strong network, something that can compete on a large corporate scale while everybody gets to maintain their small independent entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
That's our goal. That's our dream.
That's a beautiful dream and a very beautiful goal. And I believe this is going to work well for you.
Thank you.
Well, tell us about some of the products that might be coming online soon. As far as I know, there's a high demand down here for tinctures, edibles, skin creams,
Yes.
not only the flower and the concentrates. Will you be adding also maybe vaporizers to your list of things? Are you going to be wholesaling that as well? Or
Definitely, yeah. We've actually been speaking with a tincture company, and we've also been speaking with a topical company as well. But we're really focused on the cannabis flower and the concentrates just at the moment. We want to make sure that that's stable, and everybody in our network is working successfully with that, and all of our dispensaries and retailers are, able to get that. And because of all the regulations, it's, we're kind of relying on other people at this point to execute certain things. So we want to make sure that the system's working properly, and then we're open to bringing in anybody.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Vape cartridges are probably next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably VT 2.0.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So another question we have for you: what is it like for a customer to work with you? Walk us through your company and what you do.
Well, a customer to work with us, we speak with them about, Bayflower, the brand, make sure that we're on the same page with what our message is to what their message, wants to be. And once we get set up with them, we talk to our other people in the network, and they, we pass it on to them as far as, packaging, testing, transporting, because it's all separate now. And then we just make sure to get it out in the open. We make sure that with their message for their specific farm or wherever their location is, we want to make sure that coincides with what we're saying to the public. And we speak to them about how we're going to do a marketing strategy for them, and how we're going to portray them. And also, if we have any events come up, as far as because we do get approached a lot for being part of gifts for parties and things like that. So we'll speak with them directly about it and see if they want to participate, and how we can work that in, and just try to keep everything positive and flowing.
Basically, we try to create a plug-and-play situation. They come to work with us as long as we have a synergy in messages and approaches to how we do things. We basically put them right into the supply chain so that they can go back to focusing on what they do best. And our network, our supply chain takes it from there.
We want to alleviate stress from them.
Yeah.
Of course.
And we want them to be confident in what we're doing as well.
Of course.
So we make sure that they understand that we are going to do absolutely everything we can to move their product in the quickest way possible. To the broadest amount of people as possible.
Are you seeing, say, cryptocurrency coming online as a way to get paid or to pay? Some of the technology that's coming.
There's been some fascinating movements with cannabis and cryptocurrency, and certainly articles have been written recently about how these two emerging industries are almost kind of meant to be together. Cannabis with so many banking issues, and it's very difficult to accept payments and process payments. Cryptocurrency can kind of help navigate those waters for cannabis businesses and for consumers alike. I think there's going to be some really interesting synergies in how they do it, and certainly I think that we're going to see a rise in ICOs for cannabis companies. I think that prior to going public, we'll see cannabis companies doing initial coin offerings.
I saw one the other day, Cannabrands doing that. I've been following one of the local companies, Ripple, very closely up in San Francisco, and I see they're about to launch their X-Rapid system. And I just wonder how this is all going to play in together into the industry. I think it could be a wonderful technology to bring compliance and to have the open source knowledge so we can track the seed to sale.
Yeah, I mean, crypto in general, but blockchain is really, I think, going to be crucial.
Blockchain is crucial
to the cannabis industry and the privacy issues and the things that the transmitting of information in general. I think blockchain is going to play a fascinating role.
I believe so. I believe so.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming on our show today.
Thank you so much for having us. This has been fun.
It's an honor and a pleasure. Yeah, we look forward to checking back with you soon.
Awesome.
Can't wait.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. James, Ed, and all our Midas Letter friends around the world. We'll see you on the next episode.
Smoke weed every day.
So it's not all peaches and cream in the Salinas Valley after all.
No?
Problems galore. Weren't you listening to the ladies there?
Well, one thing I know for certain, it's not all peaches and cream.
No.
Over there.
No, peaches.
I can't remember the name.
Peaches
of
and
that place.
avocados.
Peaches and avocados.
California, after all. Justin and Michael, thank you very much for that. We really do appreciate all of your effort. That one in particular was very well shot. We're coming down to see you very soon. I'm going to say October 15th, probably. We rented a mansion in Beverly Hills. We didn't, but some other people did. Anyways, getting back to the task at hand.
Task at hand. Tisket a tasket.
A tisket, a tasket. T-God down 57 cents today. Not a surprise if you announce a bought deal at 603. What are you going to expect?
Yeah.
Market's going to sell off. Tilray's only up $20 now. Poor Tilray.
I tell you that I think it's running into big resistance here.
Yeah, well, it should be less frothy the closer it gets to the first release of stock to whoever can't sell it now.
Yeah, but I mean it's still up $20. I mean people are buying the snot off it.
Valens Grow Works.
Oh, yeah.
Up 4 cents. Did you see their deal today? I happen to have it up here. I'm going to pull it up on my... Valens Grow Works announced that it has secured the exclusive rights for IP and beverage brands with Terrakino Holdings, Inc., which apparently is one of the most popular brands of cannabis beverages in the state of Washington. So the interesting thing, the crux of the matter with this company is Terrakino apparently has supposedly mastered the art of water solubility for cannabinoids. Now, you've got all these companies out there who are saying we have a technology to make cannabinoids water soluble. Some of them are making them nano-miscible or miscible, but they're not soluble, which means that...
I don't even know the word miscible.
Miscible means like broken down to such a fine molecular size that an oil can mix with water and it'll look like it's mixed, but in fact it's not really mixed, it's misked.
Sorry, I asked. Oh, no, what about, would this be an unctuous kind of thing?
It's, well, in excess, it would be unctuous. But so Valens is excited about this deal because it gives them
Was
the
the group
ability...
in excess unctuous?
In excess? You really stumped me there.
I stumped myself.
Anyways, but Valens is excited about that. Looks like the market is too. If we look at their share price.
So now that you've had several years, James, and you know, I think everybody knows that you're sort of a
stoner.
like stoner, big user. No, like with all these new products, let me just ask you this, and I don't know what your like, if you have a favorite habit in the drug world.
Ooh. Well,
like for instance, would you rather do a vape thing or would you rather take a pull on a?
If I want to get high, I like to take a bud.
Yeah.
Bust it up, not with one of those bud busters. I think that's just amateur hour 101 because you get all kinds of the stock in there. You break it up by hand and with your fingertips, you filter out the bits of stock and everything else.
Can you look at my fingers and tell me if they're
wrong?
Experienced?
This is a G-rated conversation.
Okay. So what are you saying?
I'm saying if I want to get high, I twist up a doob and I smoke it. And if I want to, but I don't actually smoke weed that often.
No,
in fact,
because
I'll do it maybe, once or twice on the weekend.
A night?
No, not during the week because it just, so what I do is CBDs every day. I do 20 milligrams. What I do is 20 milligrams of broad spectrum CBD every day.
Right.
And why? Because I've noticed I sleep like a baby. Though last night I couldn't sleep, my mind was racing. B, I have much faster recovery times and connective tissues in my body. And C, I found that it has enabled me to concentrate on single tasks without being distracted, like every time one of the notifications pops up by that Apple piece of crap. So I'm doing 20 milligrams a day, except for the day that I did 1,000 milligrams, and I'll never do that again. So what about you? What's your favorite way to self-medicate?
I think smoke, I'm old school. You had a joint, right? You get a joint. I don't know, but
yeah. I was thinking about some of the things that people or investors need to look at in some of these cannabis companies now. I've noticed that there's a pattern of disclosure among the big LPs that I would categorize misleading. And I actually came across this when I was looking at one LP, who I'm not going to say who it is because it would seem that I'm singling them out for criticism. I'm not, because this is happening across a lot of LPs. So a lot of these LPs are saying, we have an arrangement or an agreement or a contract or some kind of arrangement with a large pharmaceutical farm that has a network of so many thousand pharmacies. And I've done some inquiry, and I'm asking these companies, does this pharmacy deal, for example, Novartis has a deal with Tilray. Novartis controls a pharmaceutical chain called, I can't remember what it's called, Nardwa or something. Anyways, they've got 9,000 pharmacies, but in the disclosure about the pharmacy arrangement, it doesn't make any allusion to an obligation on the part of the pharmacy to buy any minimum quantity of product from Tilray. So one of the things I think investors need to be cognizant of is just because a LP says that it's got a relationship with a big pharmacy company with all these pharmacies,
Right.
Remember these networks of distribution are not owned by the distribution network. They merely have agreements to distribute pharmaceutical products to these pharmacies. Now, these pharmacies are just like any other retail operation. They're looking for the best cost for the best product that will sell the most to their clients, enabling both a maximization of margin plus a higher rate of uptake from the available audience. And so I'm looking at all these pharma deals and I'm thinking these really are, at the end of the day, somewhat meaningless, because
In other words, maximum promotion,
yeah,
minimum
substance.
substance.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see, because I asked myself, if these companies do have offtake agreements with pharmacies, where the pharmacies are obliged to buy a minimum amount, wouldn't that be disclosed? Because that would be substantial, as opposed to just promotional. So anyways, that's one of the things that I'm seeing
Right.
that's becoming habitual with LPs that I really don't think too much stock should be put in that. What you do want to look for is the company that can say, we bought this chain of pharmacies. We control it, so they must take our product. And in fact, now that we own it, we will be the only cannabis product allowed in that pharmacy. None of them have said that. And none of the...
Yeah, but that's like saying, like, you know, like, will a supermarket just sell certain type, they sell all beers.
No, not true.
Well, not they don't sell them all, but like I go to Food Basics, which is a discount grocer, and they have beer. They have 30, 40 beers, different types.
They have beer in the grocery store now?
We've talked about this a month ago.
Really? Was I high?
Yeah.
Well, that's probably
No. Look,
Or I wasn't
you
paying
can
attention.
buy beer and wine now pretty well anywhere.
Really?
Yeah, because they're trying to take, you know, like.
So what I want to know is,
okay,
what aren't they selling now that they're selling beer and wine? So what did they take
Whiskey.
out of the store?
Whiskey.
No, but they weren't selling whiskey before they brought in beer and wine. What has beer and wine replaced in the store that they were selling before and that they're now selling less of or none at all of? That's what I want to know.
raw beets. Like they've taken raw beets right out.
Raw beets?
Yeah.
Fresh beets?
Yeah.
Not canned raw beets.
Well, you know, people don't even know what raw beets are.
I do love the way we can get off on a tangent,
Okay.
and next thing you know, we're so far down the garden path talking about beets that it's almost people are...
They're saying beats me.
Yeah, you know what? I want to go and take a reading of the temperature of the available audience right now and see how they thought. What do you guys think about these tangents? Do they enrage you?
Our firm are like, you know, we get. Does these announcements make people think these companies are better than they are? Is that where we're going with this? Like, in other words,
About the pharmacies?
yeah.
Well, I think that they are trying to imply a future economic benefit that might not exist.
Might not materialize.
Well, that's just it. I don't think it should be allowed to be so blanket disclosed that it might be a future financial benefit without the disclosure that, hey, we don't have an obligation to, they don't have an obligation
They're
to buy
saying,
any.
hey, we may decide that we're going to carry your product, but we may not.
Exactly. That's just it. And in the
Sure.
absence of disclosure that clearly articulates the value between a pharmacy chain and an LP, as an investor that is obviously skeptical, one must sort of default to the belief that there is no obligation for offtake. This is merely an arrangement, and if the distribution channel decides to carry the product, and if the pharmacies decide to buy the product from the distribution channel, then yes, there will be an economic advantage, but that is obfuscated in most of the regulatory filings I've seen, and I'm proposing that that constitutes a risk to retail investors who might not sort of be used to that level of cynicism, skepticism, because they haven't been ass raped and never mind, I'm getting off on a tangent.
Yeah.
By
It's just-
companies that are a little bit too generous with their, so I'm
Well,
just saying,
Okay,
saying.
here's what I'd like to know. I'd like to know this. If and again, I've been watching markets for 40 years, give or take, maybe a little longer. If the total market value of all the marijuana stocks, and you made a reference earlier about how many are short, what's the value of the short position?
3.5 billion.
3.5 billion. The long side's got to be 10 times that, 35 billion.
Well, what's the total invested capital in the market,
Yeah.
long X of the short
Yeah.
count?
Well, just the long,
Sophisticated mathematical equation.
okay, but let's say it's
We have
30,
analysts
40
for that.
billion.
Right.
What's it going to be?
Well, it's-
And I think the wine industry, I think one time's revenue for the Canadian wine industry is 5 billion.
Okay.
$5 billion bucks.
Right.
And they often say the marijuana space in Canada will somewhat be about the same as the wine space. In a loose way.
The recreational side.
Yeah,
Right,
recreational
okay.
side. So knowing those big parts to the equation,
Yeah.
what do you think the market cap will be in a year from now, which will be 10 months into the legal aspect? In other words, are we looking at 35 billion? Are we looking at 10 billion? Are we looking at 15 billion? Because if it went to 15 billion, everything would be cut in half, theoretically.
Okay, let's talk about absolute performance. If today is 0, where is it going to be in 10 months?
Right.
Up, down, by what percentage?
If today, yeah, but
I think that the main impetus of sales on any LP is not going to be the recreational side, unless it's exclusively involved in the recreational
you think
side.
it'll be medical?
I think it's going to be medical. In the Canadian context.
Yeah.
In the United States, it's a little bit more tricky for anybody to export anything medical because it's got to cross state lines, it's got to cross a federal border. It is, well, the Americans have screwed themselves up so badly
Yeah.
with these laws.
Yeah.
But, so I don't think that the recreational, window opening full on the Canadian market is that big a deal. And, it's just not that big a deal. Mind you, I can tell you that they are now actively closing dispensaries in the Toronto area.
Now, we talked about that briefly because I think I mentioned to you that I went to a dispensary, and I'll tell you.
It's gone?
No, gone. You go in there, and an hour later, you're gone.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying that the cops have started closing down all the dispensaries.
That's because they got to try and make it look like, hey. But if they, come on, they're going to stop closing them. Once it's legal, it's like, because cops going to say, oh, there's a legal place to buy. We're going to check to see if they're licensed.
Well,
we don't
it's
check
going to be
now.
like any retail store. It has to have a business license on the wall. You're going to have a series
Yeah.
of paperwork that you must display to the public near the cash register. And that's
Well,
exactly.
Remember, you go to these. What do they call these things? These late night places to drink alcohol. Remember, you'd go to booze can. There's a lot of those out there operating, and nobody. Who shuts those down?
I don't. I used to spend a lot of time at booze cans as a young fella,
Yeah.
but not anymore. So I wouldn't actually know anything about the booze can culture these days.
Booze
That's
can.
a good booze can. Well, the original colloquialism for an after-hours illegal place to drink alcohol was speakeasy.
Speakeasy.
Speakeasy, exactly.
So you drink a little bit of booze and you can start to talk a little easier.
No,
It's a
no,
little
no.
easier
You
to say
had
hello.
to.
Hello.
You had to have a password to get in. Speakeasy.
Okay.
Anyways, so some of those, actually we have a place in our neighborhood that has been up and running for 4 years now. for people to come in and consume cannabis. It's never had any legal issues that we're aware of, and but they don't sell cannabis there supposedly. But I'm just thinking, see, I want to get high.
Right.
My mommy won't let me. The place around the corner doesn't ask for ID, and I can buy joints from somebody. Anyways, we're going way off on a tangent.
Way off.
Let's come back to our
Yeah, well, let's
market.
take a look at, we got, markets are closed in 4 minutes. Let's take a look at,
I'm going to pull up the cannabis charts here.
yeah,
What's going on with
how about High Hampton? Take a look at that High Hampton.
Hey, Hampton. You know, I bought some shares in this, and now it's lower. So that would be consistent with my normal investing style.
Yeah, so you 1 for 1.
Buy low, sell lower.
Don't sell it.
Well, you can sell it unless you want to lock in the loss.
And again, you know what?
See, here's me.
I've been
This
looking
is me
at
at the
charts
top
for a
of the
long
screen
time.
there.
I like this pattern right here. I like this. Like, if thing was going to go down, why wouldn't it go down now? And we got a nice little tail there on today's chart. But I know, look, it's got to start moving sooner, or else, I'm not going to sit here forever and take punishment.
What are you going to do? Go whack them with the ugly stick? You know what? We've been waiting long enough.
Okay.
But what are the catalysts in High Hampton? Why would anybody consider buying it right now? I mean, we know.
Market cap is relatively small,
Yes.
right? They got opportunities galore in front of them.
Yes.
Sitting on I still think they're sitting on a fair amount of cash.
Okay.
I don't think this thing's really ever participated.
Okay, but so is there a catalyst? Like, what are the catalysts that are going to drive this thing? What are they doing? They're building grow capacity in California.
With Jim Cummings, I mean,
Well,
sorry, Jim.
yeah, but some think. Well, let's just say that I spoke to some people close to the company who told me that there were some changes afoot that were going to result in a value
At the end of the
catalyst
day,
or
the other
two.
thing I'm looking at here, and again, like if you're into this thing and this thing is having trouble and it can't get going, and finally, I think the exact opposite of this is going to take place here. We'll see. We'll see. Now, on the other hand, if it goes below 50, I'm saying goodbye.
All right.
Okay, let's take a look at what else you want to look at.
Well, what I want to look at now is my interview with Colin Fisher of a short while ago. Colin Fisher is the CEO of StableView Asset Management, and he's having a conference here in Toronto on Thursday, and this is what he told me earlier. Hey, welcome back. My guest this segment is Colin Fisher. He's a portfolio manager and president of StableView Asset Management, Inc. Colin, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Colin, I guess you're in the 5th year now of what has become a bit of a staple in the technology sector in Canada. The StableView TECH18 conference is going to be this Thursday, October 4, from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m.
About that, yeah.
Okay, tell me about StableView, why you came up with the conference, and what the conference is all about.
Well, StableView is primarily an investment firm. So we have hedge fund and pooled funds, and we invest primarily, or we have a focus on the technology and knowledge-based sector. It's a lonely space in Canada, probably. So, we wanted to have some friends. So we started to throw this technology event primarily to help educate the capital markets writ large to the space. So, from simple math, if you don't want to own 10% of a company, you need 11 investors.
Right.
And so, we're trying to get more and more. We've been doing primarily institutional investors have been in the crowd.
Okay.
This is the first year we've opened it up to advisors in a bit more of the retail space. We think because much of the technology in Canada, because of a whole host of structural issues in the capital markets, many companies go probably a little too early, to be completely frank. And so when they go public early, they're smaller, and typically a lot of institutions have a harder time getting down into the smaller areas, and therefore retail investors have a better chance of actually getting good returns in that space, but they're also required for capital to get into that space. So that's why we'll open it up. We think it helps balance out the overall ecosystem.
Okay, so are all of the exhibitors at the conference then technology companies?
Yes, and so they're not exhibitors. So what we have is they just present. So we have presenting slots. This is the first year where we have attending conference companies as well. So I think we have 26 maybe 30, I don't know the exact number, around 25, 26 presenting companies, and then we have, I think, around 10 attending companies right now. There's a few more that are still in the works. And so basically what those companies do, they don't present, but they take meetings, they meet with investors and whatnot. So if you think about it like TIFF, TIFF has a whole bunch of movies that go on screen, and then there's a whole bunch of business that's done in the background, and so that's sort of where the attending companies, the evolution of the concept of the attending company is there.
Okay, how many companies will be there?
So I think we're at 40 for the overall group, so between the presenting and the attending companies, so like I said, about 30 and about 10 some odd, so somewhere around 40 companies right now. And then in terms of attendance, I think we're north of 500 right now. I was going through the list, and it's staggering at the quality of the people that show up. Like,
really?
I was staggered. So we have some so last year I think we had around 350 billion in the crowd of assets under management so we have pension funds that show up, hedge funds that show up. You know, a lot of people think, oh, it's only open to people who do business with StableView. We invite our quote unquote competitors, because as I said, unless you're a private equity firm who buys the whole company, you need other investors at the table.
Right.
And so what we're trying to do is help educate the capital markets. Generally, a Canadian investor is typically a generalist. And so, last year we had a focus on blockchain and AI. And it wasn't because it's the hot thing, it's because we want to educate people to not burn themselves on the hot thing.
Right.
We try to, so we had some amazing panels last year on what an ICO was, how does it differ from a security, is it a security? We had artificial intelligence, what's the difference between computer vision, different types of neural networks. It's really so people when they get into it and hear an investment, all these words don't just, sound like Charlie Brown's, teachers.
Yeah.
So we're trying to make it a more approachable space, and also because we curate the event. So it's not just anyone who can go to the event. So it's an invitation-only event. The way we've made it sort of mass invitation is that anyone can apply, can register, and then we'll go through and we only allow sort of people that are actually either investors or truly part of the capital markets ecosystem, so that we have a quality audience for the people who are presenting and for people who are attending, that they meet like-minded people. We don't want 10,000 kids from high school.
Right. So this is not an event that retail investors off the street can walk into.
They could, but they would have to caveat themselves. So that we typically what will happen is they'll register. If we don't know anything about them, we'll send them an email and say, can you please give us a little bit more of a description? Listen, we have a ton of high net worth investors that come as well, but it just takes us an extra step to make sure that they're the person that we want to have at the event. And it's not to be snob appeals, that we only have so many seats, and we're trying to ensure that there's enough money going into that space to make sure that there is an impact for investing in quality companies and technology in Canada.
Right. Okay. So most investors in Canada right now are rather thoroughly obsessed with cannabis and cannabis stocks.
Sure.
Then you have the hardcore mining and resource audience.
Yep.
Where does technology fit into that sort of bipolar universe?
So I think there's actually quite a similarity between, and I'm going to talk more about the junior mining and exploration space. So the junior mining and exploration space is very much about stories, right? There's the closeology element. We're next to this thing and we think it's a contiguous find and yada, yada, yada. And we've got great relations with the Aboriginals, and we've got great relations with the governments. And and when you listen to 50 of them, they sound literally identical. And so there's a very big similarity to that. And then you have the cannabis space, which is a story element, right? There's a lot of story to it. Is there reality behind it? 100% there's reality to it. The next sort of so last year, the hot space with blockchain for a while, to me, that was in the mining element. There was a lot more hype than there was reality. AI, in my estimation, has more applicability, and there's going to be more winners made in that space, but you really have to understand the use case. So I think the big difference is you have the cannabis and weed and mining, oil and gas, they're commodity based, right? And a lot of what is being done when you mine something or when you build out a plant or a facility is it works on the balance sheet side, right? So if you have nothing and you find a whole bunch of oil, you've got a massive balance sheet. You've gone, boom, I've got X amount of oil, I've got X amount of nickel or copper or whatnot. And so that's a balance sheet find. It's a very different trade than when you have a business. So for example, if you have a business and the business starts to accelerate, well, if you grow your revenues materially faster than your gross margin, you consume cash. It's a different type of animal, because when you find something, I find a bajillion pounds of gold, ounces of gold, that doesn't do anything in your cash flow. You found it. It's a balance sheet item. So there's differences from the business perspective of how do you actually understand a business model. Now, cannabis, if you're actually producing and whatnot, has that element of mining, which is similarity. There's a big capex up front, and typically the opex is much lower, and you can get out a lot of product. But there will be the commodity similarity, i.e., if there's way too much production, you're going to have a commoditization of the product. There's going to be a compression of the margins. You're going to have a problem. And so, the way I looked at the weed space from time to time is, who is the lowest cost producer? That is no different than in the commodity space. So that's the overlap. How do you figure out the price of a commodity? It's very simple. Find the highest cost producers of production of anyone. If there's a material period of time when they start, those are the guys that are going to start dropping off, and that's where you find your cost of production, right? It's a marginal cost of production. Mm-hmm. Same thing for cannabis. We were chatting a little bit earlier. The big winners, I think, in cannabis space is going to be the ones who create a brand and a quality and an awareness that is differentiated from the production guys. And so I think those are going to be the next sort of iterations of cannabis in the whole overall space, is that there's going to be a better understanding where they're going to be able to drive margin. Making wine or making beer, there's a higher price for higher perceived quality of beer, right, than the lower cost production, right?
Okay, so in the resource industry, the value proposition is, we're looking for this, put your money down and we'll spin the wheel and see if we find something, you win. Yep. If we don't find anything, you lose. Yep. In the cannabis space, it's a matter of put your money down, close your eyes, and you win no matter what, at least temporarily. But in the technology space, the value proposition is so much different, and that's why I'm always intrigued by technology investors who say, I'm a technology investor, because for me, as a resource and cannabis guy, those are things I understand easily. Technologies for me are either black box, in which case the level of technical sophistication to actually understand the applicability of it is way beyond me, or it's the use of a technology to disintermediate another function in society that has previously been solved by something less technical or less sophisticated technical, in which case, okay, I can wrap my head around that. So for me, technology has always been the kind of like, no, I'm going to stay away from that, because I hate to admit I don't understand it, but if I don't, I won't go there. Yep. B, it's a much more nuanced value proposition than straight up bet over here, or we're just riding a brand new wave over here.
Well, that's why we put this conference on, right? Is because it's actually not that complicated. It's physics works in tech and in mining, in cannabis, in what you have to understand. At some point in time, the business is doing something, and it will produce value or it won't. In the case, it's interesting. In the case of I'll give you a reasonable concept. So, fintech writ large, right? There's this concept of fintech. It's this big, monolithic concept. But when you start to parse it out, right? So you take a company like VersaPay, in whom we're large investors. They do something. So they do what's called accounts receivable automation. Bill goes out, but they do it in a way that allows them, the customer, to click on it, see their bill at that point, they make a payment, it goes into the into their bank account. The bank account, they have a system then that allows it to reconcile to their accounts receivable in their accounting package, and the entire system is a closed loop like that.
Wow.
Many people talk about e-billing, but they confuse e-billing. E-billing is, I send out a bill electronically. All they're doing is replacing the paper. But I've got my paper, I got it, but now I got to pay it and do this, and there's all these things. that you have to do, all these steps that you have to do, but it's not an automated system. In our day-to-day life, when was the last time you cut a check?
It's been years.
How many times has your corporation cut checks?
It almost never does because I've been a huge fan of electronic wire transfers from a very young age.
Oh, that's fine, but that's okay. So you're replacing the paper version of the check. An electronic wire transfer is still the same methodology, and there's cost to your
I haven't even
wire.
used cash in that. It's been almost 6 weeks now.
Right.
I have not touched
Just don't go to
cash.
Chinatown bakeries. I went to 2 Chinatown bakeries yesterday. I was trying to eat steamed pork buns, and they only took cash. It was the most frustrating thing ever. When you want a steamed pork bun and you can't get it. Anyway, moving on. So, the truth of the matter is that corporately, people cut checks all day, every day. But in our day-to-day life,
the
we
primitive
don't.
ones.
No. I'm telling you, checks get cut all the time.
Okay.
But even my little company, we have the corporate checkbook is front and center. Like
We can't even find ours.
well, good for you. But I write my rent checks.
Right.
I write my different types of service providers. For different types of service provider. We write not an insignificant number of checks, and so that's an issue. So you take that's accounts receivable automation. There's only 2 or 3 companies in the world that are actually doing it, because you have to tie into the ERP system. You have to have a full, you have to have a PCI compliance. You have to be able to get the banks. There's a lot of different moving parts. That's an actual fintech company. It's technology being applied to the financial. Then there's lending tech. Lending tech is, at the end of the day, well, they're one example, but even them, they've gotten more away from the lending component and more towards value-added services that they're doing, as a good example, right?
Sure.
Because at the end of the day, if my whole business process, so if I make your shirt and I drive and let's say the buttons on your shirt is less than 2% of the overall cost of your shirt, and I drive the cost of your buttons down from 1% to 0.5%, it really doesn't fundamentally do that big a deal, right? So when you look at, for example, lending tech, you get all these guys that are doing all this statistical analysis, regression analysis to figure out what you're going to default on. The number one data point is for regression analysis on automating lending and underwriting. The number one thing that says you're going to pay your bills or not,
Funerals?
whether you pay your taxes. Full stop, end discussion. It's like 95%. Once you've paid that, the additional information levels are nothing. And so they're driving down the cost of the button. It doesn't mean much.
Right.
But when something defaults, when you have that, that's why you've seen some of the companies like Scotiabank, I forget the name right now, but they bought a chatbot, an AI chatbot. And the whole concept is so that they can hunt down people with using artificial intelligence, an automated process for the recovery of people who are in default. Which is where there's a fat problem, right? So part of it is understanding where does the tech get applied, how fat is that problem from a cost perspective, and how do you minimize it? And that's why, for example, with blockchain, you're going to see a whole ton of different businesses that exist right now. It's going to be in their back-end systems, and it's going to reduce error, it's going to increase accuracy, reduce back-end system costs. It's not going to be sexy.
Right.
There'll be sexy stuff at some point, but the first stuff is going to be really boring, grind, knock it out. But the application of that technology is sexy if you care about efficiency, process, and reducing of costs.
Okay. So that's an example of what we can find at StableView. If I'm a retail investor, I'm a high net worth guy, and I want to get in on this conference.
Or you're a broker, like you're an investment advisor or whatnot.
And
like
I'm
you're a
hearing about
professional.
this on our live stream today.
Yeah.
How do I get an invitation?
So you would go to StableView.ca, StableView.ca. I used to do pretty well in those spelling bees as a kid. So StableView.ca, and there's it should pop up, but if you have pop-ups blocked, then you see events and you can register.
Okay.
Like I said, it's a registration. Then we go through the process and then we send you an invitation. So we're happy. We want to have people there. We want other portfolio managers. We want other investment firms to come out, and we do want retail. This is the first year we've actually done a push to sort of retail brokers. Because we think that they're a very crucial part of the overall ecosystem. And so this is the first year we're doing a bit of a push out to them as well, and so we're happy to have them. There's no cost to attend. So that's one of the other reasons why we're a little bit more judicious as to who attends.
Sure, cool. Okay, well, we will see you there on Thursday. Colin, this was been a great introduction to StableView, and I'll look forward to seeing the conference. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks very much.
Here we are.
What do you think? You're going to the StableView Asset Tech Conference 2018, Ed? Thursday, we're going to be down there with the camera crew. We're
Really?
going to be talking to the people.
Where am I going to be?
I don't know.
Probably here, right?
Nobody ever knows where you're going to be. Well, you're going to be down there, you're going to be over here, you're going to be up there, you're going to be over that way. Nobody knows, nobody knows, nobody knows. In keeping with the idea of technology, let's talk a bit about the, how about Patriot One? Patriot One now has...
The Patriots won yesterday. The Patriots won. Now you're talking about Patriot One.
Did the Patriots win yesterday?
They kicked the shit out of Miami. Miami was undefeated, and now the Patriots came in there, kicked the shit out of
You're a
them.
Patriots fan?
No,
Dolphins fan?
no. Yeah, a little bit.
Football fan?
A little bit.
Sports fan?
A little bit.
All right. Anyway,
Let's
so
see,
here's the
ticker?
Patriot
PAT?
chart.
Let's take a look.
PAT on
Let's
the
look.
TSX venture.
That you were showing that up there a few weeks ago, and it was crossing 170, 175.
Yeah. Look at it. It's trading outside of its upper Bollinger Band. Good technical signal. RSI is at 68.
This, you know what? This is how fast time. This was back in here,
Yeah.
and then now we've taken out these like that. That's bullish.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is there a... Now, let's take a quick look and see if there's a press release to justify this.
The press
Cut to the
releases
news.
come
Patriot
out.
provides third quarter update. I
Uh-oh.
saw that. That was actually, that was the 24th, so that was last week. The update was not material, in my view. It was just a market update. So my question is,
Why has it acted so well?
why is it performing so well? And you know what the answer to that is?
I know
Ed?
the answer to that.
What is the answer to that?
The answer is because they've got some. There's something coming out here now. Like there's something coming out here. That threw me off. That last little.
Yeah, it was just showing off my crumbling
Just
personal wealth.
well, just soft. I think that's because, like, if the market's performing better, and they've come out and said they've given their lame reason for why it's going to happen, and the market, you think, well, that doesn't make sense. That's because there's more news coming.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, so let's take a look at the Patriot One Technologies investor group here, because this is quite revealing. If you look, the first thing I got to say about the Patriot One investor group on Facebook is it is uniformly bullish. There's almost no negativity here, except for you to get these odd comments from this guy, Rickard Renbrad. The stock will go down to $1.50 Canadian soon anyway. Stop the hype, please. Just hold your horses before we get something better. So basically, this is the. It's basically social media enthusiasm that's carrying this thing higher, as it has done before. If we go back to the chart over here, you will notice that there's a couple times where it ran up to, where'd the chart go? Here it is. Oh, that's another one we're going to talk about in a minute here. Where did my Patriot One chart go? Oh yeah, I changed it into news. So let's turn it back into charts. So it's had a couple of false starts here where it's just sort of jumped up on no news and increasing volume as rumors proliferate in the social media realm. And this is a very responsive audience to rumor, which is...
Look at this nice base building in here. Okay, you wouldn't. It's not really base building because it's sort of moved up, but it didn't back off. Look at all the way through here, and now curling up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's solid. But so.
Are you an owner?
Yes, I own shares from a private placement quite a while ago. I have sold a great deal of it because I was up so much, but I still hold it, and
Yeah.
We'll continue to do so. So deploying that usual strategy, sell it all the way up, and then hang on to a block as long as it's running in the right direction, and 20% stop loss over a week. If it goes down 20% within 5 sessions, that's it. I'm sold out. I don't even have to look.
Yeah, that's actually very bullish. That whole looking.
Yeah.
Now, what was the all-time high of this thing?
The all-time high? Let's see here. We have to pull this down a bit. Go
Yeah,
large.
Put up a 3-year.
There we go. Now we can see the operators. So the all-time high in the 3 years that it's been trading is...
Right here.
No, this is when
260.
January 31st this year.
Yeah.
Rocked on up to 227. Then they announced a financing.
No.
Open
258. High is 258.
258. Yeah, and then they announced a financing at, I believe it was 2.25.
Right.
And
This thing looks higher. It looks like...
it looks like they need some more money and they're going to announce another financing. No, that's always a possibility. I haven't looked at the balance sheet lately, but Martin Cronin has said time and time again that we will be profitable in 2019. We have orders for the first quarter of 2019. So he's on the record. He's out on a limb. Forward-looking statements language and safe harbor notwithstanding, he's very bullish that he's going to be selling product. And you've got a handful of anonymous mouthpieces walking around out there, bashing everything and saying this will never work. But the bottom line is, when they reveal who the major technology partner are that they did a deal with, that will be an eye opener for everyone.
Will it?
Oh yeah. I can't say anything more beyond that. I'm actually, but I'm excited. I'm happy to be holding Patriot One. Now, one of the other ones that you were just talking about while we were listening to our friend Colin there was Nutrisci. So
Yeah.
we'll talk a bit about Nutrisci now. There's a 3-year look for Nutrisci. Now,
This also is getting some interesting...
well, this is looking out 3 years. So
well, let's put up the 1 year.
okay, 1 year it is.
That looks like a bunch of hodgepodge.
Hodge.
Like if that was hodgepodge on a crossword, I'd say oleo.
Ole.
Okay.
So now we're getting into Bobby Brown. But look at this. What's this big bump up here from... Whoa, we were down here at 9 cents, 8 cents.
Look at this thing showing great support in here, really big support.
Yeah.
Now we're out through here, but this thing's hard to trade because it's showing you. We're through this 15 level, right?
Yeah.
And here we are in here, but
Looks
today,
like it's about to break, doesn't it?
It looks like something's coming, but I'm pretty sure. What's that life science company? Are they
Liberty Health?
Are they involved with Liberty Health, or am I thinking Lexaria? Maybe it's Lexaria they're involved with.
Yeah, I do recall that Nutrisci was involved with Lexaria, not Liberty Health.
Okay, so I'm getting them mixed up.
Yeah.
Probably,
But there's another one that's breaking out, is Liberty Health.
We're getting lots of action.
Yeah. $1.51 today it closed. Oh, no. Sorry. Yeah, $1.50. No, that's
Liberty
the upper
Health.
Bollinger Band.
No, that's one open. That
There it
was
is.
Friday. 163 it got to today.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Where's
Closed
my
at
position?
151.
Where's my pape?
Don't know.
You know who gets a lot of pape?
Who?
Gordon Pape.
Who is Gordon Pape?
I don't know. I think he's on CNBC. He's on one of the news channels. He's a.
In Canada? Nobody watches Canadian news. Even Canadians don't watch Canadian news. I get my news about Canada in America.
Really? From Donald Trump?
No, from Bloomberg.
Bloomberg, sorry.
Broombug. Broombaga. I've got people there's Michael Latimer calling me now. Mike, I'm doing a show.
Yeah.
Catch you back in 7 minutes. Clearly he's not watching. Now you watch. I'll call him back. He'll be like, oh yeah, I watch your show all the time. I'll be like, bullshit. Anyway,
Well-
so Liberty Health Sciences, why is it breaking out? Let's see if there's any news to justify this thing breaking out.
Well,
See, this is
what's the market cap of this baby?
Oh boy, you're asking too many questions, Ed. I don't know is a short answer. So let's see. See, this is what I hate is there's all this
Oh, decade. Okay.
fake news out there now. Okay, so, Alifia and Saruya family to enter cannabis joint venture.
Yeah, we saw that on the 25th.
Yeah, so Saruya family has also been a leading force in the Okay, so that's not relevant, nor is it pertinent to today's action. Growth of security technology in cannabis markets driven by compliance. See, this is one of those fake news releases put forth by like investor ideas that it's not a news release. They're just cobbling together a bunch of ticker bombs to get themselves visible because they're not actually a legitimate news source. So, meh. Boring, not news, not relevant. Really wish these news wires would be more diligent and only allow press releases in the press release section of their website. Wouldn't that be helpful, Ed? There's really been a propensity for these sites to allow anything that can afford a press release to come across as a company released news release, which they're not. Anyways, let's go back to the chart. Liberty Health breaking out, no news to suggest why, which is often the best indicator of why you should buy it. Look at the volume today. 9.25 million shares just on the alpha system, or the
Yeah, and
main
I
system.
think that's telling us that's the biggest volume in a year.
Yeah, so what is that saying? Is this thing imminent to the upside?
Yeah, the only thing I don't like is the big tail, the big wick on the on that final today's candle. So we got
Today's
huge
candle.
huge action, and then yet we go into new high territory here
Yeah.
for the day only, through the Bollinger, past this high. We try it, and yet backed off. So something's just stopping this thing from busting through. Maybe we'll get some news, and but I'd like to see. I would have liked to see the thing close over $1.60, because it clearly went through there, and then we got big. Look at the volume, huge volume. RSI is looking reasonable, not too overdone,
Yeah. Yet punched outside of the Bollinger Band.
and yet not can't hold the gain. Well, a little bit of the gain. It's up 13 cents.
Yeah.
But at one point, what did it get up to? 164.
Yeah. Another company I want to take a look at today is OGI. Longtime client, longtime supporter of the Midas Letter. You know that I had a Midas Letter cannabis investor luncheon back in 2014, and 3 of the 5 LPs that were licensed in Canada were there. That just tells you how crowded the landscape's become in only 4 years.
And back then, there was only a few companies.
5 at that point. So I had Mark Wayne from Bedrocan. I had, at that time, it was Dennis Arsenal from Organogram, and Bruce Linton from back then it was called Tweed. Those were the 3 guys. The only other companies in the mix at that time was Metrum and Afria. And Afria had declined to come. No, I don't think Afria was even live at that point. I don't think Afria was even live. I know Aurora wasn't, but yeah, that was the earliest days of the Canadian cannabis craze. To think this is only 5 years in and we've already got $50 billion worth of market cap across all of the listings globally. Oh, 100, just on the 100 billion.
You think it's 100 billion now?
Okay.
It's crazy. I know it's a number.
So $100 billion just a market cap just on ACMPR listed companies. So that's not including the United States companies that aren't part of our system. That's not counting.
Well, but it would include Tilray.
Yeah, Tilray's an ACMPR.
Okay. So what? Yeah, I think it's going to get tougher and tougher to move the needle.
Yeah. So let's close
just on
the show with a
valuation,
little conversation with our audience here. I just want to acknowledge some of the people who have been our regular fans here, because we really, 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 really appreciate you. Somebody's little side topic. Jonathan Salemi asked me, Jim, does your broad spectrum CBD include THC as well? Well, Jonathan, it says on the bottle less than 1% THC in the whole bottle of 1,000 milligrams. Now, don't really know how much that. I'm gonna look at the bottle again and give you a better answer. Brian Stetler says I should twist one up and smoke it, James. Brian, I've seen your name on this list for a long time. Thank you for your support. We really appreciate it. And let's zoom over to the YouTube channel. Dan S. Hello, 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 how are you? Thrice Hybrid. I don't see some of our regular guys here. Go for 32 Samuel, you're so right. See, I love it on in the chats on YouTube. The guys are they're talking amongst themselves, just not really paying any much attention to us. Having a little conversation over there.
Now, when you looked at Kronos earlier, was it up 45 cents?
Dave, longtime supporter, thank you very much. Yeah, Kronos was up slightly. Dan S., see you all the time, thank you very much. Cedric Van Bockel, I think they went for a tiny smoke. Of course we did, big smoke. Justin Marshall, our moderator and Southwest correspondent. We will see you in California this month, I promise. I promise. Let's see. Boy, there's a few people here that I'd expect to see that I don't see here, which would explain why we're only at 114 people. Anyways, thus concludes our show today. Thank you to everybody in our control room, Alex, and Fraser, Suzanne as well. We really appreciate your efforts, and everybody out there, like us, subscribe to us. Better yet, subscribe to the newsletter. Things are going to get crazy this week. Thank you for joining.